Yeah, here we are. It's Friday again. Now you may be wondering why I have that blanket over there. That's sort of to keep some of the dust out of the motor compartment. There's louvers. Well, here, see these louvers here? They let all the dust in. So I just put that over there to keep all that grinding dust out of the motor, or as much as possible out of the motor. And now, Friday afternoon. Yep, we're all done for another week. Not any more progress on the driver's side, but on the passenger side, I did all right. Well, I've cut away these bad bits in the back here, right there, and right there. I still have to pound that out and make it straight again. Now, down below, looks like I've got the front fender all back together, except for a little bit down in there, which I'll get to tomorrow or sometime. But for the most part, that looks pretty good, and the body lines look not too bad. You know, they're a little bit rumply, but I can fix that up with a little bit of body putty on it. Now, the biggest problem I had was this. It turned out it wasn't that big a problem to get this body line in there. Basically the same as what's on the other side over here. There's the body line right along there. It's a fairly faint body line, but it's got to be there. And then this side here, I'll put a new skin down in here when I get there. So it's coming along pretty good. The week number 8 or 9 this week, eh? So hope you are enjoying it. Here's stick around for a while and you can see what I did. Bye for now. See you next week. Yeah. So yesterday I was on the internet, on YouTube, and I watched a thing on a guy. He's called Make It Kustom. I think he's from out in British Columbia somewhere. And he's a pretty good welder and all, and manufacturer and machinist and all that kind of stuff. So he said that would take you have a hole about that big in your car, right? And you want to make a piece to fit, so you just put a piece of sheet metal in this little tool that I made. Well, that piece won't go in there. I'll get a piece that'll go in there. Hang on. Oh, I'm having a lot of trouble with the recording today for some reason. Here. So there's a piece that fits. And you just slide it in. See how that fits right in there? So this thing here, it's 2 pieces of steel that I cleaned off. And I drilled the hole through it, and then I put this punch in there in the middle of it too. Or I put that drill bit in the middle of it just to hold it together while I welded it here. And I put a couple of pieces of, 2 pieces of this 20 gauge steel in there just to make the right size so it'll slide in and out easy. Now that's an old drill bit that I had from, it was dull. And so that happens to be the right size for that hole. And it's hardened steel, so I cleaned off the end of it so it's a good sharp edge at the end of it. Then you just stick this thing in here, like that. There you go. And then you put your drill bit in there on the top, and then give it a whack or two. There, it went through. And there's the little 7/16 inch hole filler. So that's just one size smaller than 7/16 inch, but when you drill the hole out to 7/16 inch on the body panel, anywhere you drill it on the body panel, look back here. I'll show you this. I'll backtrack and show you how I drilled that. Anyhow, I drilled it out with the thing, and then that little device that'll fill that hole just perfect. So anyway, here you go. We'll carry on now. I might have been recording to nothing, who knows. Anyhow, I need one more size bigger on this. That should be it there. Then I've got this little piece here. And there, don't you know that just fits in there like perfectly, hey? So I could weld that little piece in there. That creates the patch for that little hole there. Now, a little bit rusty around the edge there, so I might have a bit of trouble, but we'll just see. I might be able to get that to weld in there, and that'd be a perfect little fix for that little tri-rue problem right there. Anyway, I'll try it out and see what happens. It's liable to blow it out up here. I'll clean that off before I try welding it. Anyhow, that's thanks to Make It Kustom's channel. Make It Kustom? Yeah, Make It Kustom. And Fitzee, my other guy that I like watching, Fitzee's Fabrication, he has another way of doing it that works pretty well too. Same idea, different method. But I like this method because you can punch out the same diameter disc every time and you don't have to think about it. So, there's one you can learn, Fitzee, from Make It Kustom guy. Anyhow, I'll put the links in below and you can have a look at it. Yeah, so here I am back at it, doing up this bit here, straightening out a few of these bends over here, and they're actually coming out pretty nice now. So I'm gonna now make this piece down here, grind on that a bit, make this piece down here, and then I'll figure out a piece of skin to go on there, I think. See how that goes. There, I've put the inner lip on this thing here now. I just welded it on in there and then grounded it down. And then I've finished up this little bit here. I don't know if I showed you that or not. That looks pretty good there. Now, I did put a piece of metal on here, like I put a hole, drilled a hole there and drilled a hole there and drilled a hole there, and put this piece of metal onto the side of the car so I could reach inside the wheel well and trace that black line on there. Now I'll cut it out, and then I'll cut it out again like here somewhere. I'll have to figure out how big a hoop I want there. Maybe I'll do that before I start cutting. How about that? Yeah, there you go. That's how big a hoop I want on the damn thing, over the top. Now I just freehanded that in there. I went over to the I have a set of dividers, right? So I went over to the other side of the car on the front, and I took this measurement right there. I tried it out in a couple of spots, like, well, 3 or 4 spots, just to make sure it was right. And it seems to be fairly consistent all the way. The right measurement. So then I put a bunch of dots on the on here. This is the one that I traced from the inside, and then I just put the dividers on there and put a dot down and put another dot here and put another dot there, and then I joined them up with freehand, and that'll be the circle that I cut out for the arch. Then I'll have to put a piece of metal on the inside of it here that'll fit up into the arch. We'll just see how that works out. Might work. Worked last time, so it might work again. We'll just see. Anyhow, I'll give it a go. Yeah, so there's now, this is the piece that I cut out, and I've screwed it on there. Now I'll have to cut a piece wide enough to go along on the inside of this thing here, and I weld it on, and then that'll make that thing solid. So I'll spot weld here, spot weld here, spot weld here, or tack weld here, and tack weld here, and tack all the way along there, and then take it over to the bench and weld it up good, or weld it up properly. Is that the right answer? Okay. Anyhow, carry on. Yeah, there now I've got that inside piece tacked on there. So now I just pull these screws and then put it on the bench and get at it. Then I'll put it back on. I'll put the screws back in it for a minute. Because I want to fill those holes afterwards. Anyhow, we'll see how I figure that out. Yeah, now there's the arch all welded up together. I ran it's too hot to touch here, so I ran on the back side here. I ran it on the edge inside, and then I ran a bead along the outside edge. So I'll be able to just grind that off smooth and make it look like a nice finish on it. Then that'll fit up in there, but it's the end of the day today, so that'll be all for today. I'll get that on there tomorrow and then keep on carrying on. So it goes from about here around to about here, maybe there, that this arch goes to, and then I'll figure out the rest of that stuff later. We'll see. Talking away to nothing as usual here. Anyhow, but I've never ever, this was all rotten when I took it off of there, so I don't really know what it's supposed to look like in here. I'll have a look at online and see if I can find some pictures of TR7s and get an idea of the way that, like this, there's supposed to be a seam there or something, I don't know. But there is certainly a seam back here, a pretty big seam on that, so that, you know, it might carry on to the front, who knows. I'll have a look and see what I can come up with. Anyway, that's it for today. See you tomorrow or later. Yeah, so there's the wheel arch. Not a bad piece of work there. I left that, like the welding in the back here, I left that pretty rough, just so that it'll leave the strength in it. Then see if I can get it fitted to the car properly. It goes on right about there. That'll look that bad when I get it on there. Might have to do a little bit of adjustment to it to make it work right. We'll just see how I make it out. Yeah, so there, that's kind of the fit. It's tight around everywhere. Now I had to cut it here, and I cut it somewhere up here, and I cut it somewhere in here, and just spread it a bit so that it would fit tighter down in here. And then it seems to be the right angle up here, so I'll make that angle right so that we get the right. You see on the other side, this sort of goes straight up and down. Let me have a look here. Yeah, so this sort of goes straight up and, whoops, pointing the wrong way, straight up and down around that body line there, and then it flanges in up in here. So, or what bends in or whatever that is, but I'll build that body line up so that it looks similar to that on the other side. Anyway, give it a try. There, now that's welded on there. I went all the way around and got it welded on solid. This part here I haven't welded on yet because I'm going to wait till later to see how that curve is supposed to work out. I might have to just cut that bit off and make it again or whatever, but we'll figure it out. There, now I cut a little piece here now to fit in. Where am I here? I'll show you. Way back here. I gotta come back here so you can see the car. Anyhow, right in that area right there is where this piece here will go. And I've cut it so it comes up about a ½ inch into the old metal. And that'll get rid of those things there on the way by. And that little bit there. So, what I do now is I weld it along the bottom here. Need 5 hands. Yeah, so I welded along the bottom. Where am I pointing? Welded along the bottom here. And then I'll spot weld or tack weld it in a few spots here and then cut and butt it in there. And see how that works out. I'll put a little bit of a, I'll get the wheel down and I'll put a bit of a crown on this. It's crowned this way fairly naturally, but I'll put a bit of a crown on that way so that it'll have a little bit of a strength to it, and that'll make that meet properly up here, because it's only got a very slight, like this part here, it's got a very slight crown on it going that way, I think. I'll just put a ruler on there and see. Yeah, so it turns out it's got a very slight crown going this way. I got to do it upside down. You can see air underneath there. Just a tiny bit though, hey? Up here is a bit more. So the slope goes kind of that way, so I'll do it upside down and see what I can make happen. There, I ran it through the wheel. Now, I have it on good authority that if you keep these things really clean, you get a better job out of everything. And you can't really see the little bit of a crown I put in it, but I did put a little bit of a crown in it. I'll show you with the, where did I put it? Somewhere flat here. Right there will do. With my little straight edge here, you can just see light underneath there, all along it. So that's as much of a crown as there is on the other side there, so that's good by me. And I'll just see if I can get it in there now. Yeah, so now I've welded it along here, and that's, you don't have to worry about shrinkage and stuff on that kind of a weld there, because there's lots of strength coming both ways. But up along here you have to worry about shrinkage, so I'll let it cool off for a little bit here, and then I'll cut it from about here to here, push that bit in and spot weld it in a few spots. Then I'll cut it from here to here and push that bit in, and then cut it again and weld it again, and on and on and on. Yeah, so now, where am I here? Like there's the front of the car, right? Anyhow, this bit here, I put that in, and then when you cut it out, this is what used to be underneath there. So that thing there just sort of, if you're lucky, it just sort of pulls out after you're done. In this case, I was lucky. So, anyhow, now I'll go along and I'll weld along here, and then I'll make another piece to go to here. Whoops, where I'm pointing the wrong way. I'll make another piece to go to here, and then I'll start worrying about how to get this piece in here, or do this piece up here, one of the two. Anyhow, but that slope there is going to be all right. It's going to look pretty close to what the other side looks like, which is the goal here. Yeah, now it looks like there's a body line. I've seen some pictures, and it looks like there's a body line goes across here. So that might be quite helpful if I build that down to there and then put a bit of a lip on it. And then I'll put a body line there and see what I can come up with. See what happens. Yeah, there it's starting to look like a car again, not just a bent old piece of things. So that actually turned out pretty good, all that little bit of work in there. This one here, take a little bit of body putty on it, but not an excessive amount. It feels pretty nice already. So I can be happy with that job. And I think I won't try and get that seam any better than it is, and I'll just put some body putty on it to cover it over, because I don't want to take all the strength out of it. Anyhow, now I guess next job is this panel down to here. There's the piece that I pulled out from behind, that little chunk right there. All works out okay. Okay, that's well, that's all for today anyhow. So hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Yeah, there now, this part here is looking pretty good all the way through there. Maybe a little bit of hammer work on this would help it out a little bit. We'll just see. So I can fix up this bit here at my leisure as I go along. And then this part here, I kind of got a plan for it. I'll build the piece that goes down here first. Where am I? Yeah, the piece that goes down here, I'll build it up to here. And I'll make like a seam here, just a little indent seam that seems to be right there to right here. And that might look pretty good in the long run. And that will carry that seam all the way back to the back of the car. So if I put this in first, then I've got a good plan to be able to put this in afterwards. See what happens. Yeah, there you go. That's that piece in there. Hold it on. So then this is all solid all the way through here now. Now I can put that piece of skinning down here, try and get a piece to fit in there somehow. And then I'll get a piece to fit in there. Holy boy, it comes back together pretty quick sometimes. We'll see how it goes here. You never know. Take a bit of grinding there before I can finish that. Yeah, so anyway, there's kind of the idea. I'll put a little bit of a body line right here just to step out. This will be in farther, and it'll step out to meet this part here, and it'll step out to meet this part here. So when I put my piece on here, step out to meet here. And when I put my piece on here, between here and here, then I'll run a bead along the edge of this, and then I'll grind that off, grind that extra bit off. That might work. And it'll go around, and then this, I'll cut this out so that it has the right body line there. Might work. Because it looks like it'll all fit over here okay. Might take a bit of work to get this stuff here right. Because that's, not quite right there. Might have to just cut that out and do it again. We'll just see. Anyway, that's all for today. I'll get some more done. I was a little bit late starting today. Had to go to town and pick up some stuff. But I'll get more done tomorrow, or try to. Looks like I'll run into the same sort of problem over here on this side later. But I'll get that sorted out as I go along. Anyway, there you go. See you tomorrow. Yeah, so here I'm back again. A little bit late start today. I had to go out and do some droning work. But I'm not 100% pleased with how this turned out here. Didn't get the right curve on that thing. So I think I'm going to cut it off right about there and up to here and across. And then I'll put a new piece in there and make it look nicer, make it fit the curve better. This got warped or bent, or maybe I didn't notice it before, but who knows. Anyway, I'll fix it before I carry on. Yeah, now there's a better repair job there. It looks like it should look. It's nice and smooth all the way around, and there's no lumpity bumps on it. So that'll work, and then I'll work on this piece in here now. I'm trying to figure out how to make it attach down at the bottom here. I might have to put a little bit more of a lip along here and attach it to it, and then I'll do an angle cut off of it or something like that. We'll see what happens. Did I show you that? There's that piece that I put in there. It's a lot nicer than the old one. And now I'm working on this bit here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this bit here and put it in place. Then I'll build a place in here, and it'll come right down and go on that bit of a lip that I made at the top. Then I'll grind off the lip. So here's the piece that I'm building to put in there. I got this piece on the edge here that'll go over the flange on the wheel well there. And then I'll grind off the outer bit of this stuff so that it looks like it's flat to it. And I have to cut it across here so it hits on the bottom, and the top bit's okay. Yeah, so here you go. Like that's, where am I? I'll back up here so you can see front of the car. And this business here, like this is where the front fender comes down, and it's all one piece of fender to the bottom. And then there's a seam in here. Now I'll have to fix that seam up a little bit with a bit of body putty just to make it look better. But this part here will go up and tack onto the bumper up above, or the fender up, the skin up above. And then I'll clean off that body line so there's just an indent, like it'll be a small indent going in, the way it was from the factory, I think, but I don't really know for sure. Anyhow, but I built this piece here to go onto here, and then it hooks on the bottom down there. So I'll put some holes in here and do a spot weld in this part, and then this bit here I have to just build it down, and then I can put in the piece that fits in here, and I see if I can figure out that thing there. That'll be next. But anyhow, that's all for today, and I'll let it be overnight and think about it a bit before I start welding stuff on. Yeah, so back at it. Now I welded it on here, and I straightened out that lip I had there because I think it'll look better without the lip. Anyhow, but now I have to take this grind that off of there, and move this up a little bit. So I'll see if I can fix that up so that it fits better down at the bottom there. Anyway, I'll carry on. Well, there now this part here is on, a little bit hot still, and hooked on the bottom. I haven't grounded it out yet. And I haven't grounded out this weld here or that weld there. I'll leave that for a while. See if I can get a piece to fit in like here, and maybe it'll fit. Maybe I can make it. I gotta look at the other side and see what it looks like there. So there's a bit of a hoop to it here, above that line. So I maybe make the piece out to about here, and that's a fairly flat piece with a bit of crown in it. And then I'll hook in that piece there. See how that works out. Because that's where the line goes to, so this has got to have a hoopy thing in here. So maybe I'll make a piece about here, and then across here. The hoop ends there. This line goes here, so I'll make that piece like this. Then I can fill it in, right? Like it's down to here is flat. This is where it goes hoopy right here. See how I can do this. Yeah, there we go. I made the piece fit in here. It's not attached to anything yet, but down here is that's the body line that I want, and it looks pretty awful good. I'm surprised. I surprised myself. Anyhow, I'll make it all fit together later. This thing, it's got to be a little bit tapered off down this end. As I put it all together, I'll do that. I'll pound that out, taper that off a little bit. But I have to put a little bit of a crown in it going this way, and likely a bit of a crown going that way too. So I'll get at it. So I used this thing here for this bead maker thing for doing the body line. You can see that in there now. See how it is? Nice little line. But I practiced a couple of times before I did that on the piece of metal I wanted. Practiced on here, and I ran a piece of metal through, and then I spaced this thing far enough, like you just space this thing back far enough that it make the body line that wide, and then I made it so it didn't have too much pressure on it coming down. Like they aren't not as tight as they could be. Anyway, seems to turn out all right, so I guess we'll live with that for now. I'll get this thing here out and start. That's the English wheel. I'll get that out and start making a little bit of a crown on that stuff. Yeah, that's where it sits now, and the body line is in here. Now this thing is supposed to have a little bit of a swoop in, but that part there likely isn't out far enough. Don't know what I'll do about that. Likely by the time I get that in there, it's going to have a little bit of a swoop in. I'll see what I can make it do without making it look ugly. Anyhow, the other side has quite a... Well, from here, like there's a pronounced swoop in there. Down here, where the body line comes down, it's fairly flat. Just up above here, it's a little bit of a swoop. So here it should be fairly flat, which is what it is there. And here there should be a little bit of a, yeah, I guess it'll look all right. It'll be okay once I get that in flat with the rest of it. See what happens. Anyway, there we are. That's all for today. Didn't get very much done today because I had a late start. I had to go down and do some work down at the neighbor's house. But it's starting to look, that's just about looking all right. This bit right here, I'll fix that up with a little bit of body putty just to make it, there's supposed to be a body line right there, and it's free to let a little bit of air come through, because the air comes through here. There's a vent into the car in there, but if it doesn't go there, it comes out here. So I guess that's flow-through ventilation, hey? What the hell? Anyhow, all for today. I'll see you, I hope, tomorrow. Yeah, so I've got this piece cut out, so I'll put another weld in here, another weld in here, maybe one in here. Then I'll cut it through and see if I can get that to sit down flat, weld it into place, and then I'll put this piece on here and see how that looks out. See what happens here. Yeah, so I made cut number 1 here, right along from here to here, and then I'll give it a tack weld here, give it a tack weld here, and then I'll keep on cutting along here through that weld to here, then I'll tack that on, and then go down that side, and so on and so forth till I get right around. I'll show you when I get that done. Yeah, now that's tacked along there. It's cut out and pushed into place, and it actually looks pretty good. And there'll be a little bit of a ridge on here, like down here it's supposed to be flat across there, which is good. And up here there's a little bit of an indent, so that'll come out okay on the body line, all right. And this body line here is right. Well, as right as it's gonna get anyhow. Actually, it'll look all right when I get it done. There, I'm happy with that. Yeah, there it is. I got that welded in there now, or tacked in all the way around, and it's got that bit of body line. You can see it goes down that way, and then it's got the nice crease in here that's supposed to be there. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That'll work. A little bit of body putty to smooth out some of the wrinkles that I put in, but otherwise be all right. I think it's going to look good when it's done. Still have to do this little bit up here. I haven't figured out how to get around that corner yet. I'm still working on that in my poor little brain. We'll see how it comes around. If I get this piece in today and sort of address this a little bit, I guess that's not too bad the way it is right there. See what happens. I need to put some body putty just on here a little bit to make it look like that's a little bit better gap there. Anyhow, we'll get that figured out. Yeah, so while that's cooling off up there, I'll cut out this little bit here, and then I'll cut out this little bit here on the back quarter panel. I also have to cut some out down here, just around this. There's a bunch of bad bodywork there, but I'll get into that a little bit later. For now, I'll just get this one here cut out, and then I'll see what's in underneath there. Anyhow, cut it out and show you. Yeah, there now I had an opportunity to use one of my little discs in here that I was welding up here, fixing a pinhole, and it blew through and made a fairly large hole. So I drilled it out to that size right there, and then welded that thing in around there, and it seems to work okay. There you go. And then I'm working along on this stuff here. Just carry on until it's still a little bit hot down here, but most hot there. I'll give it another couple of minutes, then I'll weld some more. And while I'm waiting, I've sort of fixed up on this stuff here. I'm going to cut this piece out here next, I think. Get that in, and then I'll worry about that down there. Yeah, there you go now. I've got that piece welded into spot welds. That one's all welded up, and I got to start grinding on it. And I filled a few pinholes along there. And then I had a kind of a bigger hole here. So I put another one of my little discs in. They just fit perfectly into that 3/8 inch or something like that, 3/16 inch hole or 3/8 inch hole. And then I weld around it and grind it off, and then I'll finish off that stuff there. Cool. Yeah, there it's in. And it actually looks not too bad. I can do a little bit more grinding on it, but I think that I won't do too much more grinding on it. I'll just put a bit of body filler over to cover that weld over and clean it up a bit. And it all looks pretty good round to here. And down here is still pending. But I'll get that part done through there soon. Anyhow, it looks an awful lot better than it did when it first showed up here, so I'm pretty happy with that. That's all for now. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed everything this week, because it's been a little bit of progress made as things are starting to go back together. The car looks like a car again up there, not so much back here. So we'll just keep on pecking away at it, and see you next week with the next update of it. Bye for now.